Hello, fellow historians. Welcome back to another episode of Documenting History. The purpose of this video and the purpose of this channel is to document local history in the New York metropolitan area by uploading a snippet of that day's news. Thank you for visiting, and I hope you enjoy the episode.
Were introduced in 1970. Britain's Daniel Evans took care of Russia's Karen Khachanov. 5 hours, 35 minutes. 5 hours and 35 minutes non-stop tennis play. Hey, you've heard the story of Dr. Doolittle, the fellow who could talk to the animals? Well, now we've got Kelly Doolittle. Yeah, our girl Kelly Ripa on Live with Kelly and Mark, telling the story about how she has communicated with a certain species of mammals.
I, Kelly Ripa, jump into the water, and I go, I know how to talk to the dolphins. So I'm now going...
Well, Kelly says they rented a boat for Sunset Cocktails earlier this month. Cocktails, the key word there. She had just shot a tape piece about communicating with dolphins. So when their cocktails boat was surrounded by the dolphins, she jumped in, started to talk to them. How'd it go again, Kelly? There you go. We've reached out to the dolphins for comment. They have not yet returned our calls. Well, the first day of school just around the corner. City officials still working on a policy restricting phones in the class.
Mayor Adams says schools chancellor David Banks has been talking to students, teachers, administrators, parents for input on a phone policy.
What we find is that the overwhelming number of people would like to get the distractions out of school.
But he says they need to work out how to implement and looking at where it's already been done.
We do have schools in the city that are doing it on their own.
He says the LA school system instituted a full ban, but he says here in New York, they're not there yet. Juliet Papa, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
In a world filled with financial information.
Welcome back to another episode. We're documenting history for future generations, as you heard in the intro piece. If you're a visitor here, we thank you for the visit. If you're one of our 18 subscribers, I think it is, maybe 15, 14, somewhere in the teens, I thank you for becoming an official historian as we go past School 25 and we're getting ready for the 9 o'clock headline news. I'm going to make a right-hand turn here on Vernon Avenue, here in the Lakeview section of Patterson. Let's see what we got.
And uses the most luxurious, innovative materials and design.
We have a commercial right now. So yeah, I just want to let everyone know we started this channel in April. So it's still a new channel. We're just getting off the ground. And the purpose is to record history for future generations. So I appreciate the views. I ask that you subscribe and like the video if you feel so inclined.
Sales expectations for the sixth consecutive quarter. Scott, as comparable sales rose 18% in the latest quarter, beating the 15% growth that analysts had projected. The company also raising its sales outlook for the full year. But after a run-up for the retailer's stock price this year, investors are selling on the news, with Abercrombie shares down pre-market. Meanwhile, shares of Foot Locker are down too, even as its sales topped analyst expectations, as turnaround efforts and a rekindled relationship with a key partner, Nike, begin to pay off. The sneakers seller snapped 5 consecutive quarters of negative comparable sales. It just wasn't enough, though, to sustain the stock's 46% rally since its previous earnings report back in May. S&P futures, well, they're down about 2 points now. NASDAQ down 10, Dow in the red 22.
Crooks Avenue, Patterson, New Jersey right now. Or actually, we're on the Clifton side.
Or 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Salvavia's Labor Day clearance event is happening.
Labor Day is coming up. Labor Day weekend is this weekend. I don't know if I'll be able to put up a historic documenting history video, depending on what I'm going to be doing. Mrs. Historian works in the school system, so we have to do some back-to-school shopping this weekend.
Overstocks and brand new indoor and outdoor furniture is drastically marked down with savings of up to 70%.
We're a couple of minutes away from the headline news, 9 o'clock in the morning headline news. Hope you were around for the WCBS Final Days uploads. That channel ended its broadcasts After 60 years, it's now an ESPN sports station.
Store locations. Hurry in. Salvavia's Labor Day clearance event ends on Labor Day, September 2nd.
Ah, summer is here. Time for video calls, eating lunch at your desk, and navigating office politics.
Wait, that's not what summer's for.
But my inbox is full.
Inbox schminbox. Life is short. Summer is for getting away. Bring on the beach, the national parks, the music festivals. We gotta get out.
We're on the intersection of the 46 ramp, which is the off-ramp for Highway 21.
Stylish Elantra. Ignore those meeting invites and get away with the peace of mind.
We're going underneath Route 21 right now.
Get going, because these deals won't last. Add more joy to your journey at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Lease an all-wheel drive Tucson for $2.
We've entered Garfield, New Jersey, for those of you who are not from the Northeast.
Hurry into the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Offers end September 3rd.
This is the primary route that I take to work. Most of you that have watched these videos will recognize this route. But the important thing here is not the route, it's the news.
AccuWeather says we're heating it up today. Heat advisory from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. tonight. Hot, humid, clouds, sunshine. We'll get up to 93 degrees. The real feels approaching 100 this afternoon. More people get their news from 1010 Winds and from any other radio station in the nation. Gary Souders, our service aide. Fran Blisco's our writer. Walter Geis at the editor's desk. I'm Scott Stanford.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Winds at 92.3 FM, New York.
Good morning, 75 degrees. It is 9 o'clock on this Wednesday, August 28th. I'm Susan Richard. Here is what's happening. Proof today that summer's not over yet. We'll have a heat advisory in effect with real field temps near 100. We'll go live to AccuWeather. Today's the day the MTA is expected to start cracking down on fare beaters on city buses. Special counsel Jack Smith goes back to the drawing board with a revised indictment against Donald Trump in the federal election interference case. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz getting back on the campaign trail today. They kick off a bus tour in Georgia. And this Saturday, some fun for Beach Boys, Elvis, and other big-name music fans who have deep pockets. Yeah, we'll explain. In sports, Mets beat the Diamondbacks. The Yankees lost to the Nationals. Winds News Time 9:01, traffic and transit with Sue Eller.
We are loaded up in New Jersey, westbound Route 80 at exit 53, which is Route 23, Route 46 in Wayne. An accident. You got the left and center lanes blocked. Only one lane gets by, so you want to avoid this altogether. Go with Route 46 as your alternate. But some good news on the northbound turnpike. We had a debris spill on the western spur at interchange 15E. It was glass on the roadway. That's been cleared away. And this accident southbound on Route 109 in the express lanes. It's involving an overturned vehicle. It's blocking all lanes on the exit ramp right by Newark Airport, so just watch out for that. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Good news heading into New Jersey at the Outer Bridge Crossing. An accident has been cleared away. And good news inbound at the George Washington Bridge. Delays really eased out. About 5 to 10 minutes. Really looking good right now. You've got maybe 10 minutes at the inbound side of the Lincoln Tunnel, but 25 at the inbound side of the Holland Tunnel. And if you're traveling at your Upper East River crossings, we do have delays heading into Manhattan at the RFK Tri-Bar Bridge. You're slow both ways at the 59th Street Bridge and both ways at the Queens Midtown Tunnel. So your Lower East River crossings, that's the way to go. Traffic is sponsored by Bronx's only Honda dealer, Bronx Honda on East Tremont. The Honda Summer event is here. So are great deals at Bronx Honda, your trusted dealer since 1975. Lease the all-new, all-electric 2024 Prologue EX all-wheel drive for just $199 per month. Visit us today on East Tremont or online at bronxhonda.com. I'm Sue Aller. Next report at 9/11. 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
All right, the tail end of August bringing back a one-day scorcher, Joe.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a one-day event, Susan, because there's a front that's going to come barreling out of Ontario and Quebec and work its way into and through our area late this afternoon and tonight. But out ahead of it, boy, is it going to be brutal. Temperatures mid to upper 70s now. We're headed to a high of 93. And AccuWeather real field temperatures are going to be in the upper 90s during the peak of the heat this afternoon. With that front, there is a risk of a thunderstorm, in fact, a pretty gusty thunderstorm at that, during the afternoon and early nighttime hours. I think things quiet down late tonight, but the main impact of that front is to wipe out the heat and the humidity. Tomorrow, a much cooler day. We only get it at the mid-70s with a lot more clouds and sun, and we'll stay comfortable in the mid-70s again on Friday. I'm AccuWeather the meteorologist Joe Lundberg. I'll have the full 4-day forecast in under 10 minutes right here, New York's weather station, 1010 winds at 92.3 FM.
Well, the MTA said it was going to be putting more fare checkers on buses and at bus stops to make sure that people are paying to ride. Word is today's the day that's going to happen.
Gothamist reporting that the surge in MTA agents and NYPD cops will begin today after both agencies met yesterday to map out their plan and get to routes they believe are the most egregious hotspots for fare evasion. We've been hearing for weeks now from interim president of New York City Transit, Demetrius Critchlow, about this.
Individuals are literally evading a $2.90 fare that are going to plays, that are going out to dinner, that are going to work.
This suggestion from John J. Adjunct and former NYPD detective Ray Sarney.
Maybe there has to be an MTA way in which you can't access the bus at all unless the Omni card is passed through or the Metro card or whatever way they can do before they get onto the bus.
One Shuck, 1010 wins, 92.3 FM in Midtown.
A new indictment replacing the previous one in the federal election interference case against Donald Trump. Special counsel Jack Smith has narrowed the original language following the landmark Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity.
There was to be a status conference in this case next month. We're not sure that will go forward. There will have to be an arraignment where the former president will enter a plea of not guilty in all likelihood to this new superseding indictment, although the special counsel says that the former president does not have to appear at that arraignment. His attorneys could enter the not guilty plea for him.
That's Aaron Katersky. This new indictment removes language accusing Trump of trying to weaponize the Justice Department to help his reelection because the high court ruling said his dealing with the DOJ fell under acts as president. Instead, it still charges that he illegally interfered with election officials who certified the vote at the state level, saying the president has no power where that is concerned. It also accuses Trump of obstructing Congress's certification of the vote, and it categorizes his January 6th rally as a campaign event. On the campaign trail today, the former president's running mate.
J.D. Vance picks up his battleground barnstorming. The Republican vice presidential nominee, a key messenger of former President Donald Trump's policy pitch to voters, will talk energy and the economy, this time at campaign events today in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Vance also pulling double duty, packing his schedule this week with private fundraisers across the country. Meanwhile, Trump returns to the trail Thursday, making stops in Michigan and Wisconsin and headlining a rally in Pennsylvania on Friday.
That's correspondent Torian Small. Both RFK Jr. and former Democratic Hawaii Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard have joined Trump's transition team. Kamala Harris getting back to campaigning after taking time off following last week's Democratic National Convention. Both she and Tim Walz to launch a bus tour of Georgia.
Several state and local Democratic leaders here have said the road to the White House runs through Georgia and the lane through Georgia runs through Savannah. This will be the vice president's second stop here in Savannah in about 6 months. Her repeated stops here to not only Savannah, but the Peach State indicate her campaign views Georgia as an important state in the race for the White House.
That's Flynn Snyder. The vice president has taken heat for not doing any interviews since launching her campaign. That will change when she and Tim Walz will sit down with CNN. That will air tomorrow night at 9. Well, first it was the dead bear he dumped in Central Park. Now another animal tale involving RFK Jr.
The longtime conservationist allegedly sawed the head off a dead whale back in 1994 after it washed up on a Massachusetts beach. Kennedy reportedly bungee corded it to the roof of the family minivan before driving it across state lines to bring it back to his New York home so he could study the skull. The Center for Biological Diversity Action Fund hoped that the NOAA Office of Law Enforcement is able to ensure that Mr. Kennedy surrenders any and all illegally obtained wildlife that he continues to possess.
Correspondent Rhiannon Alley. While RFK Jr. is backing Donald Trump, the Center for Biological Diversity Action Fund has publicly supported Kamala Harris. 75 degrees now. It is partly sunny. The humidity is 70%. And the winds are southwest at 6 miles an hour, 75. We're heading up to 93. Real feels up to 100. And we could see some heavy gusty thunderstorms this afternoon. When's news time? 9:08.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Documenting History. I appreciate your support. And if you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next episode.